So I get to talk about another issue on the internet, guys. Yay. Alright, so this is probably honestly the most requested video in my channel's history, okay? And I don't really know why, because I don't live in the European Union. I live in the United States, and I check my analytics quite often. Almost 60% of the people who watch my channel are from the United States as well, but yeah, I do have a lot of fans over in Europe who will be directly affected by Article 13, and its initiative to basically destroy meme culture, sharing of copyrighted material on the internet, and basically just the ability to do anything with any sort of material that could be copyrighted. Now, that might sound all fine and dandy until you really start to understand the consequences of something like this. Before we get into that, let me basically explain what's going on, okay? So, many of us here in the United States realize that the internet has been under attack by lawmakers for years now. Here we've had to deal with net neutrality issues for, you know, the better part of this whole decade. Recently that was revoked here in the United States, but, you know, over across the big pond they're having somewhat of a similar issue, except it might honestly even be worse. So on the 20th of June, 2018, the European Parliament's Legal Affairs Committee adopted a draft for the Copyright Directive, and this basically causes a vote in plenary session on the 4th of July. So while all the communists over in Europe are wondering whether or not they're going to have internet and memes the next day, we're going to be celebrating, you know, freedom. Freedom from Britain, freedom from the Europeans who like to, you know, tax our tea and shit. Yeah, I had to do that, unfortunately. But this is honestly a big deal, even to Americans, because if this actually stays law, this is going to set a massive precedent that is going to change the way the internet works, okay? So this Article 13, basically what it does is it causes websites like, you know, YouTube, Facebook, Google, etc., to have upload filters. Now, YouTube kind of already has one of these. You might know it doesn't work very well, especially if you create content here on the website. Fair use has not been a very, you know, big issue to YouTube in recent years. They'll try and strike you for anything. But imagine this broken system of robots reviewing literally everything on basically every single website. So anytime that something triggers this machine or this robot, whatever you want to call it, upload filter, anything, when that is triggered, what it does is it basically puts all the responsibility of monitoring copyrighted content back on websites instead of individuals. So YouTube, Facebook, all these websites will be held accountable for having copyrighted material uploaded to their websites. Now, like I just said, these robots or these filters, they don't work. They don't work very well, at least. They might work in certain situations, but right now, it's always better to just have a human review it, you know? Because even though you're using content within fair use, these robots or these machines will still, you know, they'll get triggered. They'll actually literally get triggered, which means that even though you're technically within the rights of the law and you've actually, you know, made sure to conform to what the law says, you still might be held accountable for doing something wrong when you never really did. And content that is used under these fair use laws will be deleted, and websites might even be sued or be held accountable by the people who own those copyrights, which obviously isn't really fair because YouTube doesn't decide for you to upload content that is copyrighted. In all reality, it's kind of ridiculous to expect a website like YouTube that is so completely massive to be able to manage every single instance of copyrighted material being uploaded onto the website. However, the European Union and the lawmakers in their parliament don't seem to think so. And honestly, part of the problem is that in our world, we tend to elect people who are older, who don't really understand how the internet works, yet they have the power to change things, and they also have people within the music, movie, etc., all these industries, basically paying them to put things like this through. And I'm not saying that this whole Article 13 is based off of, you know, entertainment industry's big push or anything, but it almost seems that way, you know? On top of that, according to SaveTheInternet.info, I will link that down below, it is the primary movement right now to get this entire article kind of repealed. Press publishers will be required to bill for any links that someone makes to their content, which means that news portals are basically nullified, which is going to have very negative effects on the freedom of press and the ability to, you know, share and access information. That is one of the best benefits that the internet provides. On top top of that, and this might even be the most important thing to you, meme culture will be definitely threatened by this article. With these upload filters, copyrighted materials that are, you know, under free use once again, they're not going to be able to be distributed because people who create and share memes will have to literally pay licensing fees to access that copyrighted material. So when it comes down to it, a funny GIF, oh god, I just started a war in the comments. Basically any snippet, image, clip from a movie, video game, piece of music, anything that becomes a meme, that's definitely going to be threatened. It's going to be really hard to create memes because obviously memes are usually callbacks to popular culture, and these things that are, you know, copyrighted tend to be some of the biggest things in our culture that we base our memes and stuff off of. Meme pages on Facebook, all kinds of different things, YouTube channels and stuff, they might have to disappear, guys, because they're not going to pay licenses for this stuff, and if they don't, there's going to be some sort of action taken. Now, I know what all of my American fans, the 60% or so of you who are not from Europe or some other area of the world, are saying. This doesn't matter to me. This isn't taking place in the United States, what's the big deal? Number one, that's kind of untrue, and number two, it sets a really bad precedent. Number one, if this does, you know, continue to be law, it doesn't matter if it takes place in the United States or not, because obviously the European Union, it's a pretty big organization of nations. If they implement something like this, it doesn't matter what country you live in or where you reside, it's gonna take a massive portion of the internet with it. And if it gets passed there permanently, then it might get passed here permanently, because we already know our lawmakers here are not the most intelligent people. They see an opportunity to do something that screws with the internet, they're definitely gonna take it. And this is the perfect way for them to just continue attacking the internet. This is going to hurt the internet for literally everybody regardless. I mean, dealing with issues like this on the internet is already hard enough. We don't really need every major nation in the world trying to go ahead and ratify articles like this too. But on top of that, it's just a straight up attack on the internet, and if it's happening there, we should at least try and do something about it, you know, because we already don't have net neutrality. Imagine if you didn't have memes either. I mean, it's just gonna be terrible. The entire internet will never be the same if something like this stays in the law. Now, you can do something about it. Obviously, it's a pretty big deal. I'm not the first and definitely won't be the last person to talk about this. But what you can do is share this video, go ahead and go tweet about it, do something, you know. Visit the website down in the description. It's got plenty of different links and articles and all kinds of different things it can provide you to help inform you a little bit more and to help you share information about these articles, because there is another article called Article 11, which it seems kind of targets more of like researchers and news articles and stuff like that. This is just a terrible precedent to set for the internet. If we pass some sort of law like this that for a very large portion of people in the world restricts how the entire internet works and basically sets a precedent for it to happen in the rest of the world, we're gonna end up seeing basically a dictatorship of complete restriction of freedom of speech, expression, art, all kinds of different creative outlets, and it's not gonna be good. Another problem that I think that could happen, possibly, is what if people like Facebook, Google, YouTube all decide, hey, the EU wants to pull something like this, they want to hold us accountable for something that we aren't really directly involved with, why don't we just block access to our websites and our services in the European Union? Obviously, something like that would be horrible, because that is hundreds of millions of people who would not have access to quality internet pages that, you know, help promote the freedom of information being spread throughout the internet, creativity, art, memes, etc. all over the internet. That just wouldn't be good. The internet is probably honestly the most powerful, expansive, and overall progressive tool that humans have ever developed. Right now, it is easier for you to learn than it's ever been throughout history. And these two articles, primarily articles 11 and 13, are just making it extremely hard for the primary purpose of the internet to really fulfill itself. Guys, we have to do something about it. And I just hate to think that some of my European fans have to deal with something like this, and I do want to help, so I did go ahead and tweet out about this. I did go ahead and link this down below for you to go read. It's the actual website, savetheinternet.info. I basically read a lot of it here in the video and kind of detailed in my own words what's going on, so if you're interested in learning more, go ahead and click that down below, guys. But This is an important moment in internet history. Realistically, this is like nothing that we've ever seen before. If something isn't done about this, it's gonna create a whole plethora of problems for us to face in the future. Let's just nip it in the bud now. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you did enjoy, make sure to drop a like and subscribe down below. If you're new around here, hit that notifications button to see if YouTube will promote my content to you. Every time that I upload a new video or go live here on the channel, you will get some sort of push notification on your phone, tablet, computer, whatever else. Make sure to go down there and click that link, guys. This is an important moment. We need to stop this. Hey, follow me over on Twitter as well for memes, thoughts, and updates, and unless you live in Europe and this article passes, then you might not have Twitter, and hey, we just launched a brand new Discord server called Optiworld. Down below there is a link. We just launched it today. It is exploding. You guys are loving it. We're having a lot of fun there. Go ahead and click that too. And until my next video, guys, this is Optimus speaking out against Articles 11 and 13 and signing out.